Hi, I'm Darcy Collins. I like it. I think I could live here very nicely.
Yes, I'm sure you could. But I'm not so sure it would work out.
Well, why not? I'm a med student, same as you. I work hard, live quietly, I keep my things neat, and I can afford the rent.
It's just that when you signed your name D.A. Collins...
I know. You thought I was a man. You might have thought the same thing if I'd signed Darcy.
Yes, come to think of it, I might have.
Look, I need a place to sleep and study. If it doesn't bother you to have a female roommate, it certainly won't bother me. And naturally, there'll be no funny business.
Oh, naturally.
I see you've already taken the best bedroom, but, I'll be perfectly happy with the room at the end of the hall.
That room has already been taken.
No, that's all right. She can have the room at the end of the hall.
Does that mean I can move in?
Well, I don't know. When I thought about sharing an apartment...
You thought just one particular way. Does he have preconceived ideas about everything?
No, wait. It isn't that. It's just that this is a bit more complicated than I thought it'd be. I think maybe Alan and I should discuss it.
Okay. You two talk it over and I'll get back to you. Do you have a phone yet?
They're putting it in today.
All right. I'll call you back this afternoon.
Okay.
You know, I'll bet you have preconceived ideas about women doctors. You're wrong about that, too.
Hello?
Hi, who's this?
Brad?
This is Darcy Collins, your potential roommate?
Yes, right.
Well, you promised to think it over, so here I am. I'm probably crazy, but I've decided that I'm game if you guys are. Brad, are you there?
Yes, of course.
Well, what's the verdict? Do you want me to move in or not?
Just a minute. Hang on. It's that crazy girl.
Hey, Darcy?
She still wants to move in. What do we do?
Well, like I said before, why not?
I can think of about 10 good reasons why not.
All right, it's essentially your apartment. I guess you should decide.
There would be all kinds of problems.
Yeah, could be.
Face it, it would never work.
Right, maybe not.
Besides, I don't want to hurt her feelings.
She'll understand.
Darcy, I've talked it over with Alan, and we both think...
No, huh?
When would you like to move in?
I just wanted to take one final look.
Sure, I understand.
I mean, after all, this is a serious step. I had to make sure that my original decision was the right one.
Well, believe me, we had to do a lot of careful thinking about it, too.
So, is it yes or no?
Definitely yes. Especially since I see the bedroom at the end of the hall was kept available. Thank you.
Anytime?
Well, I guess the next step is for me to go back to my place and pack up.
Do you have a car?
My roommate does. I think she'll be more than happy to drive me over.
If you
Just
need
I'd be
any
glad to
help...
give you a hand. I still have a few hours before I'm due at the hospital.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you. You know, this really is a nice place. I can't believe the rent.
Yeah, talk about luck. Where are you living now?
Just a couple of blocks away on Bailey Street. I share the top floor of a house with 3 other med students. Women, naturally.
Naturally.
The landlord just raised the rent, and the place isn't worth it. It's about, half the size of this and about 1/10 as attractive. Did you find this in the newspaper?
No, not exactly.
I didn't think so. Anyway, I'm just as glad to have an excuse to move out of there because I hated living there.
Why?
It's like being in some kind of dumb sorority. Not that that's not fine for some women, But it's not my bag. I like to be independent.
We've noticed.
Needless to say, women are kind of minority at med school, so they're always talking about this special bond we share and all that. The way I see it, I'm no different from any other medical student. Right?
If you say so.
Oh, this sexual differentiation stuff really gets to me. It bores me.
Okay. You gotta admit, though, it does have its advantages on occasions.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's something I wanted to talk about. Now, I think I made my position clear, but you may have forgotten or not taken me seriously.
We haven't forgotten. No funny business.
I'm here to sleep, study, and work. I expect us to have a friendly relationship that's basically businesslike. Period.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad we understand each other. Oh, but there is one other thing that I want agreed upon. Now, I see this living room as a kind of common room, if you know what I mean. I mean, I don't want to come dragging in after night shift and get embarrassed. In other words, when either of you has some hot and heavy date, which I'm sure you have from time to time, I would appreciate it if you'd entertain her in your room.
What about when you have a heavy date?
Oh, for the time being, I'm much too busy to even think about dating.
I don't see how she can get any more stuff into that room.
Hey, come on, this isn't a lot. Hey, be careful. Don't drop that tuner. Whoa. Now, let me just think if I've forgotten anything.
The kitchen sink, maybe.
No, I think I've got everything. Hey, thanks, you guys, an awful lot.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
Well, I'll just see to getting the things down the hall to my bedroom.
I think you should sit down and catch your breath for a minute.
Maybe. Oh, I've got some wine in there somewhere. Let's have some and celebrate.
Sure, I'll get some glasses.
This? California's cheapest.
I've got to go to the hospital soon, so just give me a swallow, all right?
All right.
I only got 2 glasses.
Oh, that's
sorry.
Here's swallow.
For you.
Great.
Great. To the 3 of us as roommates.
Dr. Huntington.
Dr. Ross.
Dr. Collins. Hey, what does the A stand for, DA? Alcoholic?
Anne.
My, oh my. Darcy Ann.
And if you ever call me that again, I'll kill you. Cheers, everybody.
Sure would be a welcome change from the food in the hospital cafeteria.
Hey, Darcy.
Morning.
Darcy, Alan and I have just come up with this great idea. We'd like to talk to you about it.
Really?
It's about the food situation and how much more practical it would be for us to eat here at the apartment.
Yeah, it's cheaper, too.
I mean, we have to eat lunch at the hospital, but breakfast and dinner...
Well, if your idea has anything to do with my doing the cooking, the answer's no.
This coffee sure is awful without milk. You sure you even want a second cup, Brad?
It's better than nothing at all.
You know, it's funny the difference the milk can make. It's like a whole different taste.
And it doesn't take much, just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, enough mornings like this, we may get to like it black.
Don't count on it. I'm picking up some milk as soon as I'm finished at the hospital.
Yeah, we'll get some juice, too, will you? I mean, I just can't get started in the mornings without some juice. I'll pay you for my half.
How was your shift last night, Darcy?
Long.
Well, at least you get the morning off, right?
If you call spending the whole time studying off, sure.
You work pretty hard, don't you?
Well, I expect to have a good internship when I leave here. That means I'm going to have to work for it.
Sure. That holds true for all of us. Listen, maybe we can help each other.
Help each other, how?
Well, you may not want to chip in for the food, but how about notes and information?
Hey, that sounds great. But will it really work out? I mean, none of us have the same clerkship.
No, but we will soon have that, sooner or later. For example, I am studying psych right now.
Right. I'm in cardiology.
But the time will come when we'll change places during the semester. So when the time comes, you can give me the notes you had in cardiology, and I can give you the notes I had in psych.
All right. That's fine with me.
What about it, Darcy? 3 of us pulling information has to help.
I don't know.
Well, why not?
Well, I don't know what kind of students you two are. I mean, I have no idea what kind of notes you take.
Hey, Darcy, you know, that holds true both ways. How do we know if your notes will be any good?
Hey, I take excellent notes. I have them on file from my first year at medical school.
Well, I don't want to brag or anything, but I did pretty well myself the first 2 years, and Brad's done great. I mean, from what I hear, he'd get the least out of sharing.
That's not true. Besides, you can always learn something from somebody else.
Well, anyway, I'm all for it. I vote yes. I've got to get my stuff together.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about what? If you don't like the idea, that's
No,
okay.
it's not that I don't like it. I just would like to think about it a little more.
Look, you can do whatever you want, okay?
I'm sure it would be helpful. I'll let you know, okay?
Sure.
Well, I better go get dressed.
Hey, Darcy,
Yeah?
since we're both off duty tonight, how would you like to catch a movie with me? There's a W.C. Fields film playing at the Athena.
Sorry.
What's the matter? Don't you like W.C. Fields?
Brad, I thought I made myself clear the other day. As long as I'm living here, there can't be anything personal between us.
A movie is hardly personal. I'll let you even buy your own popcorn.
Sorry. Now, we're sharing an apartment, and I'm sure that's going to work out just fine, but that's as far as it goes.
Well, I'm glad that night is over.
Oh, I'll echo that.
Although I'm still surprised I'm not as tired as I thought I would be.
Me neither. Oh, except for these shoes.
Hey, how was it?
Not so bad, until right at the end.
What happened?
They brought in 5 people from a head-on car crash.
It's pretty bad, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it was pretty grisly.
What'd you have to do?
2 died. 1 had a flailed chest. I helped intubate him.
Yeah?
And Darcy was helping Dr. Gardner. They had a man with a crushed skull. He was smashed to pieces. It was very messy. But Darcy toughed it out.
Yeah?
She just gritted her teeth and hung in there. I was really impressed.
Well, I'm really impressed with her, too, but for another reason.
Okay, Alan, you've been eating my peanut butter again, haven't you? It's down below the label, and it was a brand new jar.
Come on, Darcy.
Oh, come on
For
yourself.
Pete's sake, what am I supposed to do? Run out in the middle of the night looking for peanut butter when I know there's a whole jar sitting right there?
No, you're supposed to think ahead and buy your own like the rest of us.
I think this is dumb. I think we ought to pool our money and get some food that we can all share.
I think so too, Darcy.
Well, I don't. The first thing you know, I'd be expected to do the shopping and then the cooking because one of you would say, "Come on, Darcy, you're a girl. I bet you do this better." Well, I don't. I'm going to go take a shower. And another thing, I bet I'd be stuck with the dishes, too. So the answer is permanently no.
I'll just have to check into it to make sure
Hal's
that...
been using my shampoo. Excuse me. I didn't know we had company.
Oh, that's all right. I was just leaving. Bradford, I'll just dropped in to... I'll call you. I'll call you, and we'll discuss what we're talking about. I'm late.
It was nice to see you, Mr. Dunn.
Yes, it was.
Who was that? He looked like somebody out of Dickens.
Yes, and out of great expectations and sudden surprises. He's just no friend of the family.
Oh, about the shampoo?
Yeah?
Get it? Boy, am I tired. I can't get my eyes open.
Darcy, listen to this. A new drug called sulfonpyrazone reduces the incidence of sudden death among heart attack victims by 74% in the first 7 months following the coronary, according to results of an international study.
Terrific. Just what I like to hear first thing in the morning. What are you reading from?
The New England Journal of Medicine.
What about long-term effects?
It says no long-term adverse effects have been found. They've been testing it since '74.
Yeah, well, when I'm practicing, I'm going to give them at least 10 years to study a new medicine. Brad, maybe I shouldn't ask, but what the hell is going on here? Who is that?
Darcy, this is Jeff.
Oh, yeah, hi. I think we met before.
Yes, we were on rounds together last week.
Oh, sure. Right.
Jeff came with me by the hospital last night to copy some of my notes. It was pretty late by the time we got through, so I told him he could stay over.
Oh, sure. Right.
Well, I'm still living on the east side, and I haven't had time to find a place over here yet. Do you really live here with Brad and another guy?
No, I just come in mornings to do the dishes and sweep up.
Oh, yeah. Well, I kind of thought Brad was putting me out.
No, he wasn't putting you on. I do live here.
Is that so? It's very interesting.
Yes, isn't it?
Oh. Does anyone know what time it is? I gotta get back to the hospital.
8:17.
Oh, boy. You mind if I use the shower?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, what a beauty.
Hi!
Yeah, hi.
Jeff stayed over last night. He wants to use the shower. Okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
We know each other, don't we?
Yeah, we were on rounds last week.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, I better hit the shower.
Hey, don't use the red towel. That's mine.
You can use the brown ones.
What's he doing here?
Just copying my notes, and I got late. Incidentally, I was wondering how both of you would feel about taking in another roommate.
Him?
He needs another place to live, closer to the hospital, and he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, but Darcy and I were on rounds with him last week. Oh, man.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, he's kind of a klutz.
He can't get it together. On rounds, he forgot his notebook, and then he had to borrow a pencil.
And he's always confused and asking dumb questions. I mean, like having to come over and borrow your notes. I have the feeling he's always a little behind on everything.
Some people aren't as quick as some others.
Well, and some people are just dead from the neck up. I don't know how he's made it as far as he has.
Well, we don't have to decide right now. We'll talk about it later. I've got to go.
Hey, did you see what the kid did yesterday? He bought himself a whole box of donuts. Now, what am I going to have first? Chocolate, glazed, jelly? I think glazed. And are we going to offer Darcy one? I think not.
What'd you do at the hospital last night?
Endless nothing. I was in ER most of the time, but all I did was hand things to people. I could have been a conveyor belt or a robot. But wait a minute, there was this one post-operative patient, really interesting, a Mrs. Gibbs. She kept complaining about something new. Every half an hour, she was convinced she was dying. I mean, she was one of those hypochondriacs who keep diagnosing everything for you.
Oh, swell.
She said she had acute stomach pains and numbness in her fingers and her toes, and so she was convinced she had internal hemorrhaging and was going to die of blood loss. But there were no signs of it. A half an hour later, she had blurry vision, so she knew she had a blood clot on the brain. And then, to end the evening, she decided that she had diagnosed herself as having a paralytic colon.
Was she still in post-op?
Yeah, you'll probably run into her today. Mrs. Gibbs, what a character.
Well, I better go get dressed. So, how you gonna spend your day off?
Nothing. Study, sleep. You and Brad gonna be at the hospital all day?
Oh, yeah. I don't think we'll get back till dinner time.
All day, huh?
I also noticed on rounds this morning quite a number of patients with multiple hematomas in the antecubital fossa. For those of you who don't remember, that's right here. Obviously caused by what?
People who miss veins when they try to draw blood.
So what do we do about it? Yes.
If you have to jab the patient more than once, get somebody else to do it for you.
Well, everyone seems to be in good spirits today.
Good morning, Dr. Powers.
Dr. Morgan? Well, is everyone here an expert on the acute abdomen? No? Well, do we have a case we can discuss?
Mrs. Gibbs.
Mrs. Gibbs? All right, fine. Mrs. Gibbs it is. You've all seen Mrs. Gibbs this morning, have you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Gibbs. She's our post-op who's had her gallbladder removed.
Yes, sir.
And she seems to have had some troubles last night. Who can tell us what happened? Yes?
She had a severe attack of abdominal pain.
That's all you're going to tell us about it?
Well,
What kind of pain? Where? Localized? If localized, what quadrants? Was any rebound tenderness?
Well, I don't know. I think.
That's all right. Hey, take your time. I'm just pointing out these are the specifics. This is what we look for in each and every case. It becomes second nature. Got to always ask yourself these questions when you examine the patient. Yes.
I think, sir, the pain was diffused.
You think so? On what basis?
She couldn't localize the pain.
All right. What other symptoms do we have? You.
Me?
You, yes.
Oh, well, she had a numbness and then a tingling in her fingertips and toes and a choking sensation. And she said she was in great pain and was very frightened.
Mm-hmm. All right. What do these things signify?
I think she was overreacting.
Well, what do you say? Can you offer us a diagnosis?
Yes, sir, I think I can. I think it could be porphyria.
Porphyria? Are you kidding?
All right. Let's hear him out. On what basis do you make that diagnosis?
Well, I realize it's a very rare disease, but it encompasses all the symptoms she complains of: the abdominal pain, the numbness, the choking.
Well, I don't agree. I think all those symptoms could be caused by simpler things, such as hysteria and a very active imagination.
Good point.
I mean, she was given barbiturates earlier. That could cause the stomach pains.
I think it's post-operative complications.
Well, we certainly have three entirely different points of view. So let's examine them, beginning with our diagnosis of porphyria. All right. Now, what would you need to substantiate that?
Well, I don't know.
Well, what about the urine? Well, is there any trace of porphobilinogen in the urine?
No, sir.
No. And if it were porphyria, there would have been, so I guess that rules that out. Now, what about post-operative complications? Specific.
I think the abdominal pains are caused by a paralytic colon.
So does Mrs. Gibbs. However, the chart indicates that the bowel sounds are normal, so that would rule out paralytic colon. No tenderness in the area of the incision, so would seem to rule out post-operative complications, as well as our porphyria diagnosis. Now, don't laugh. That's a long shot, and it may seem silly to look for zebras every time you hear hoofbeats. But now, heed me well. It's a very serious mistake to assume, or to have so little imagination that you rule out the proper diagnosis until it's too late. Well, I guess that brings us to a diagnosis of hysteria. As a matter of fact, a patient's previous workup does show a strong possibility of malingering, which would seem to substantiate your diagnosis. But I'm curious as to know how you arrived at the diagnosis of hypochondria. Did you, you studied the patient's previous history, or was that a lucky guess?
No. I didn't know anything beyond what I just saw today.
So you assumed it. And though you had the correct diagnosis, you arrived at it in the wrong way. We never assume. We always check it out. That's the lesson for today. All right, Dr. Morgan, you want to come with me?
Yes, sir.
Regardless of what he says, I did make the right diagnosis.
Yeah?
And I was right.
Yes, I know. I knew you were right all along.
You did? How?
Because Alan had told me about Mrs. Gibbs, too.
But what gets me is that there are a lot of other ways you could have said it besides you arrived at your diagnosis the wrong way.
Come on, Darcy, let's face it. You did.
Excuse me a minute, please.
Well.
Yeah.
Darcy, would you do me a favor, please?
Sure, Alan, if I can.
Would you get lost in your room for a few minutes?
Why?
Because I asked you to.
Isn't it amazing? This morning you had nothing planned for the day at all. Just a boring old day of study and sleep.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice place you have here.
Yeah, thank you.
Gets a little crowded, though.
You can say that again. Yeah, I'll see you, all right?
Yeah.
She was a little embarrassed because Darcy was here.
Why should you be embarrassed about me any more than about Brad?
Just because. That's life. Look, I simply want to remind you guys that I was just following the rules that Darcy laid down. No heavy dates in the living room.
Right.
Just wish I could get as far with you.
Fat chance.
So just keep her on bed rest and give her beta stimulator intramuscularly.
How close is she to term?
About 4 weeks.
That'll be okay then. Have you heard about that Shirodker case Dr. Aldrich has?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Want some coffee? I'm putting the water on.
Okay.
There aren't any clean cups.
This place is really getting to be a mess.
I guess you could use a vacuuming, huh?
Well, don't look at me. If you want it cleaned, hire someone.
Brad, you want some canned beef stew?
Yuck.
Yeah, it's not so bad if you think about something else while you're eating it. Brad?
Thanks, but I'm going out to dinner.
I wish I were. Hey, that looks pretty good.
It is pretty good.
What is it?
Chicken breast. Oh, it's easy to fix if you ever want the recipe. So you just brown the chicken and then add some wine and some tarragon, and some mushrooms. It's really good, and then you put it on a bed of rice.
Yeah. Where's the rest of it?
The rest of what?
The chicken.
Oh, I only bought the chicken breast.
I didn't know you could do that.
Well, sure. Haven't you ever seen breast of chicken on a menu?
Sure, but I thought you had to buy the whole thing. I mean, that's the only way my aunt ever bought it at home.
Well, live and learn.
You mentioned something the other day about being brought up by an aunt and uncle.
Yeah, my parents died when I was in grade school. They were both teachers, though. My father taught science, my mother taught second grade in this little town in Nebraska, Owens. My aunt and uncle lived there, too, so we moved in with them.
Were they teachers?
No. My uncle was a handyman. He took on whatever job came along, went fishing a lot. There was never much money, but you can imagine, but they were nice folks.
It's lucky you got to college.
Yeah, well, there was a little money left for my parents. I had good grades, and I had good moves on the basketball court. Hey, you play basketball?
Not very well.
Any sports?
Well, tennis, and I do ski.
Anyway, that's how I got scholarships to college. I bet you guys didn't know you were living with the poor, deprived orphan who never got the chicken breast even when there was a whole chicken.
Oh, it's so depressing I may cry. Actually, I didn't grow up in the lap of luxury either. Oh, except it wasn't half as deprived as yours.
What did your father do?
Well, he was an executive for an auto company, although that's not half as good as it sounds because he was what you'd call a minor executive. Boy, they really had to budget to put me through college.
You went to school in Detroit, huh?
And lived at home to save money. Money ruled my life, or the lack of it did. Always had jobs during school and, oh, of course, every summer. Hey, listen, don't ever be a waitress if you can help it.
Are you kidding? I spent a lot of hours waiting tables in dorms and stuff.
Brad, you come from Connecticut, don't you?
Yes.
I have a married sister in Bridgeport. Where are you from?
A little town near Stamford.
Well, you see that. Another small-town boy. What's your father do?
He's in business. Hey, look at the time. I've got to get going.
Where are you eating?
Medicine Man. See you later.
Have a good time.
Thank you.
Listen, I know who that might be.
Hello?
If it's a girl for me, I'm not home.
Hold on a minute, please. Look, Alan, I'm not gonna lie for you.
Darcy.
Yes, he is. Hold on.
Hello? Oh, hi, Rhoda. Yeah, I guess you got my message, huh? No, I'm not gonna be able to make it tonight. I'm really sorry. Yeah, well, I just got loaded down with work and I have another big seminar coming up. I really wish I could see you. As a matter of fact, the whole week is hopeless. And as far as I know, I'm pulling another 36-hour shift at the hospital this weekend. Yeah, right. Look, I'll give you a call when this whole crunch is over. If ever. Sure. Look, I'm glad you understand, Rhoda. Okay, bye-bye.
Do you really have a long shift coming up?
Not that I know of.
Poor Rhoda. I think that's mean.
Maybe. She's a nice girl. I've been out with her a couple of times, but she's just not very interesting.
I assume that means that you wouldn't come back to your room like that little student nurse last week?
Come on, I'm not that kind of guy.
Ha!
Hey, I'm not. You think I judge women by whether or not they come back to and go to bed with me?
In a word, yes. Why don't you have some French bread to go along with that?
Oh, wow. Bread. A piece of bread of my very own. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Your generosity is overwhelming.
Oh, shut up and eat.
You know, Brad's kind of a funny guy.
How?
I don't know. He just doesn't like to talk about himself much. I wonder why.
Well, this is a surprise. I didn't expect to see you here.
Why not? I got off a couple hours ago.
Oh, no. I mean here in the living room. I thought you'd be in your room with the door closed as usual.
Very funny.
Well, now it is. Because I heard you left the hospital with a very sexy-looking blonde. So what happened? You finally strike out?
She wasn't my type, so I sent her home.
Ah, in other words, she said no. Oh, well, you win some, you lose some. Oh, by the way, someone on the 4th floor, a patient, was... Damn you, Alan, have you been drinking my wine again?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Look, I want you to keep your hands off of my things,
Okay, I'll buy you another bottle tomorrow.
Ah, you're damn right you will.
Hi. You all remember Jeff, don't you?
Oh, hi, gang.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Jeff still has his room over at East Side, so I suggested he bunk here for tonight. He has a quick turnaround at the hospital.
Still haven't had any luck finding a place over here yet, huh?
Oh, no. You know, I actually haven't had any time. I've been trying so hard to catch up.
Jeff wants to stay up to study, so I told him he could use my room.
Yeah, I better get at it. Excuse me, guys. Nice seeing you again.
Guys.
Well, that's what you are, Darcy. Just one of the guys.
Come on. He's all right. He just doesn't have much self-confidence, that's all.
Maybe there's nothing to have any confidence in.
Well, I feel sorry for him. And I think he's really friendly.
Oh, he's friendly, all right. He's like a big overgrown puppy.
Look, he's having a hard time, and going back and forth to East Side really cuts into his study time. How would you like to let him move in here? What do you say?
You really want an answer?
Look, we're hardly here. We really live at the hospital.
Yeah, that's true, but I just don't like the idea of someone permanently bedded down on the sofa.
He wouldn't have to be. I've got 2 beds in my room, and I'll let him stay in there.
It's okay by me.
I guess so.
Okay.
I've had it for tonight. I gotta pack it in.
Hey, listen, Alan, don't forget you owe me a bottle of wine.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
How did you like the new resident on the rounds today?
Oh, he was kind of buttoned up, wasn't he? Hey, you want a glass of wine?
Well, surprise, surprise.
Oh, this is your orange juice glass from this morning, isn't it? Well, it's the same germ, so it won't matter, right?
No, I guess not.
Mm-hmm. The alcohol would kill him off anyway. Listen, I'm sorry about being so unenthusiastic about Jeff moving in. It's just that this place has spoiled me. I don't like the idea of suddenly being crowded.
Come on. Look. Just look at it this way. He'll be one more person to share your ideas with.
Oh, maybe. But I got this thing about space. My parents weren't... Well, they weren't poor. Not like Alan's parents, but they sure weren't rich. And the one thing I really hated was being crowded. My sister and I had to share a room and a closet. Not that there were many clothes to put in the closet, but it was a feeling of being crowded and not having your own space and having to share. I thought I'd never do that again. Why am I talking to you about this? Maybe it's the wine, huh?
I doubt it. Seems to me you're just going to have to be a big success or marry rich.
One thing's for sure, I'll never marry poor. Speaking of poor, see what it's done to Alan? I mean, he's really gotten pushy and wanting to get someplace and be somebody.
It's normal, isn't it?
But I think it runs deeper in him. I mean, it's a real hunger. I think he'd cut throats to get ahead.
That's a real rough thing to say.
Not really. Because if push came to shove, I'd do the same thing.
Hi, MJ.
Oh, hi, Dr. Garner. Just getting out of surgery?
Yeah, but I'm due back again at 1. Then I have the rest of the day off.
Oh, you deserve it.
Listen, I'll still be seeing you tomorrow night at the Bennett's dinner party, won't I?
Oh, yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I. It ought to be a pretty good evening. Ashley always did love a good party. You going with Mike Powers?
Uh-huh. How about you? You gonna take a date?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, why not? You should.
Well, Ashley said I could bring some money if I wanted to, but I can't think of any money I particularly want to ask.
Oh, Well, a single man never hangs up a hostess.
And nothing hangs up Ashley.
Yeah, well, I'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dr. Garner, hi.
Hi.
I'm sorry. I'm Darcy Collins.
Oh, yes, of course. I met you the other day in ER. Yes, kind of a bad day, if I recall.
Well, it wasn't the easiest.
You're the lady with the 2 young men for roommates.
Not anymore.
Oh, no? What'd you do, move out?
No, 4th one moved in. His name's Jeff.
Okay.
I observed your surgery this morning.
Oh, yeah, the cholecystectomy.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
About what?
Well, it was the first emergency gallbladder removal I've seen, and the anatomy looks so different.
You mean from the textbooks?
Yes.
Well, you're not the first student who's noticed that. It never looks the same. You see, in an acutely inflamed gallbladder, all the structures are distorted by the inflammation and the edema. Even the blood vessels are out of place.
And enlarged.
Exactly, yeah. That's why sometimes you prefer an elective surgery instead of waiting for an emergency situation like this one was. It can be a lot easier on the patient.
Well, I can see why. Anyway, I thought you did a beautiful job.
Well, I thank you. Yeah, I think it went pretty well. I was pleased.
I probably shouldn't mention this.
What's that?
Well, the other day in ER, you said you wouldn't mind talking to me about surgery. I mean, I really am interested.
No, well, I meant it.
Well, I don't want to be pushy, but I'm free tomorrow night. I mean, you could come over to the apartment, and I could even fix it something.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm busy tomorrow night.
Oh, well, some other time then.
Yes, I'd like that. I always hate to pass up an opportunity to talk about surgery. I'll see you. You know, I have a great idea. As a matter of fact, tomorrow night, I'm invited to a dinner party. And the hostess said that I could bring a date if I wanted to. How would you like to go with me?
Well, I don't know.
It's a buffet supper. It's a very informal kind of a thing. Dr. Bennett and his wife are giving it. Do you know him?
I know who he is.
Well, they're very nice people, and as far as I know, the rest of the guests are from the hospital, too. I think I can guarantee a pretty great evening.
Oh, I'm sure it would be wonderful.
Unless there's a problem of you going with me.
Problem?
I mean, is it against the rules to go out with someone on staff?
Oh, no. I mean, it's frowned on if you're one of the teaching staff.
Well, I'm not, so what do you say? Well, but here I am assuming that you're not seeing some guy seriously.
Oh, no.
Not even one of your roommates?
Not on your life. I made a rule never to date any one of them. As a matter of fact, I've sort of sworn off dating in general in order to concentrate on studying, but I think I can make an exception about tomorrow night.
Good. I'll look forward to it. See you later.
I'll give you a call, okay?
Oh, thank you, Alan.
She followed me home.
Listen, I really wish you'd seen that cholecystectomy with me this morning. Dr. Garner is really brilliant.
So I've heard.
Oh, what do you know? A clean glass.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Why is it you only wash your dishes in the dishwasher? I mean, when I opened it this morning after you'd run it last night, I found 4 plates, 3 glasses, 1 coffee cup, some silverware, and there was a whole sink full of dirty dishes.
Well, you and Brad can rinse off your dishes and put them in. I'll be more than willing to put in the soap and turn the knob.
Hey, would it kill you to load it up once in a while?
Probably. I don't even like to touch what you guys leave in that sink. I mean, some of the dishes are growing things.
Only the ones that have been there over a week.
Hi. Aren't you on duty tonight?
Yeah, I'm due in about a half an hour.
Keep tomorrow open so that we can all study together, okay?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
I can't. I've got a date.
You? I thought dating was against your religion.
Who are you going out with? Or, I shouldn't ask.
Jack Garner.
Garner. Dr. Garner.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have dinner at some friends of his. Dr. Bennett and his wife.
Dr. Bennett, I met him. He's in pediatrics. Nice guy.
Yeah, but Garner isn't. You mean you haven't heard about his reputation? You know, it's almost as bad as mine.
I've heard all about his reputation. He really gets around.
So how come you always say no when I ask you out?
Dr. Garner has something you don't, Alan.
Sure, success.
No, charm.
The lights are on here, too.
Huh. Well, I guess everything will be back to normal now. Yeah. In a way, it was kind of exciting, the power failure. It's incredible the way the hospital handled everything.
Yeah, wasn't it? I heard Dr. Williams was in the middle of a spinal fusion when the power went off. And then the emergency generators kicked in, and he went on as if nothing had happened.
You two back already?
Yeah. The emergency at the hospital is over. There was nothing for us to do, and since our shifts we finished, they sent us home.
Well, look, I want you guys to think of me while I'm slaving over there all night long, all right? While you two are here curled up watching the television.
Fat chance. I'll be spending the evening at the library.
If the power's on. You know, I heard it's out here and there all over town.
Well, I am so glad that it's on here. I wouldn't want Dr. Garner to miss it in all its glory when he comes to pick me up.
A nice that fancy dinner party, huh?
Well, I don't know how fancy it's going to be. Jack said it's going to be an informal evening.
Sound like a barrel of laughs, huh, Brad? An evening with a bunch of middle-aged doctors and their wives.
Well, I'd hardly call Dr. Bennett middle-aged, or Jack. I think he's a very attractive man.
Now, you just watch yourself with him. Anyway, maybe it'll be called off. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I'll need the bathroom for at least a half an hour. Is that okay with you?
Sure, no problem.
You don't think it's going to be called off, do you? I mean, with all this sleeting rain and wind.
I think Dr. Garner would have left you know by now, don't you think?
Yeah. Except everything was so hectic at the hospital for a while. Oh, well, I'll go get ready and hope for the best.
I wish you would let me know so that I can help you.
What's going on?
I don't know. But the only thing I know is that she's very upset.
I can see that.
Alan, I don't know, gave her his key and...
Oh, that explains it. She's one of Alan's girlfriends, and he's done something to upset her. Good old Alan.
All I know is she's really in a bad way.
Maybe it would be better if you handled this by yourself. I'll go downstairs and wait for Jack.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good time.
Okay. All right, that boy.
Here you go.
Oh, you mean the
This
flip
is
down the PCB?
Brie, Havarti, and good old cheddar.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Mike, want me to pick some?
Please, yeah.
Want some peanuts? I'm so glad you could all make it here safely.
Yeah, it's been some year for ice storms, wouldn't you say?
We've certainly had our share.
Yeah, I hope Mom and Dad can get here. Mom is so bored with staying at home.
Yeah, Greta, when is Maggie coming back to work?
Oh, I think next week.
Oh, that's
Good.
good.
Ashley,
Yes.
it's a beautiful apartment you have here.
Oh, thank you. We're going to change it a bit, though. Poor John's just about to lose his study.
Oh, you mean because of the baby?
Are you having a baby? Yes. It's never, never, never going to show.
Ashley, you wait. In about 6 months, you're going to be eating those words.
Well, I certainly hope so. Well, I hope you're all still hungry. We're going to eat soon.
Oh, Ashley, I'm so happy the storm is over, so you didn't have to cancel.
Ashley cancel? No way, no way. The Ashley I knew would never let a little thing like an ice storm stand in the way of a party.
Are you kidding me? Ashley was all prepared to cook dinner with a sterno when I came home.
She bought every candle in the neighborhood.
You'll want me if I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree. I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me if I don't see a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Do it again. I'll tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me. If I don't see a yellow ribbon round the old oak
You have a lovely voice.
Well, thank you. I thought you'd never notice.
It's loud, anyway.
For that, I'm taking you right home.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on. Well, mind your P's and Q's. She never wants to leave a party.
Ashley, it's so good hearing you playing the piano again. You sound just as great as you always did.
Are you serious? I never practice anymore. Oh, you played Love Lily.
Lovely, did you say? And you are a
Great, you played great.
The food was good. But listen, anything that Ashley does, she does
that
always
was the
the best.
best dinner I've tasted in such a long time. That mousse was absolutely the best.
It's
It is
wonderful, a wonderful evening.
Oh, well, you're all acting like
Hey,
it's
some
over.
more songs.
Oh, come on. Let's
Here we go.
the chorus.
This is, yeah, just might as well do the
Hey,
chorus.
watch. No carrying on with the piano player.
Come on, watch it there. All right. Let's go.
Okay.
What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love.
We're not asked until they told us.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Brad.
That's good to see you're still working.
Yeah, how are you, Dr. Gardner?
Fine, real good. We've been wined and dined, and now this lovely lady here has been charming me the past few minutes.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but we certainly dined sumptuously.
Terrific.
Listen, would you like a cup of coffee, Dr. Garner? Or maybe a glass of wine?
No, that's okay. I don't want to come barging in.
You're not. I've been at this all evening, so I think I've had it.
Oh, okay, I'll have a cup of coffee. What have you been working on?
The effects of drugs on the inner ear. I feel drugged myself after all this studying.
Well, you wait until I get you into surgical clerkship. That'll keep you on your toes.
I bet it will. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, Brad.
Oh, Brad, wait. What happened to that girl that was here?
Oh, I was out for a couple of minutes, and then she just took off.
Without saying anything?
Well, we talked, but...
She really looked like she was coming unglued.
Yeah. I felt I finally got her to calm down, and then, bang, she's gone.
So it was Alan who upset her.
No, it's this other guy she's in love with.
No idea where she went, huh?
None. I just hope she's okay. But I don't know.
Well, Darcy, there were 4 of us in med school who shared an apartment off campus, but I'll tell you something, it was nothing like this place.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual, I guess. Brad was very lucky to find it so cheap.
Yeah, I say he was, I tell you. Because our place was an absolute dump. There was never enough heat in the place. I mean, one night it got so doggone cold that the soda bottle sitting on a ledge inside the window froze solid.
Inside? Come on.
It's the truth. Pretty grim days. Pretty grim days. But I'll tell you something. I never had so much fun in my life.
Is that where you met Ashley, when you were in medical school?
Yeah, that's when I met her, but I didn't meet her at school. No, I used to see her every summer because our families had summer homes on the same lake up in Vermont. Now, I met her there when I was in college.
Oh, so you've known each other a fairly long time.
Yeah, but I lost track of her there for a while. Her father finally gave up the place up there during my last year in med school. And I never saw her again until this year when I ran into her here in Madison.
You didn't keep in touch at all?
No, but I never forgot her. Ashley's always been very, very special to me. She always kind of had an electricity about her whenever she'd come into a room. People just couldn't keep looking at her. What'd you think about her?
I thought she was very beautiful, vivacious, and she's a bit unpredictable.
You should be a psychiatrist or a fortune teller, I don't know which, because Ashley has always been unpredictable. I think that's a quality about her that I liked, that was the most exciting about her.
Well, I thought she was fascinating, but not half as fascinating as I'm sure you found her. You couldn't take your eyes off of her all evening.
Not true.
Oh, I was watching.
Oh, well, then I must have been a pretty lousy date, huh? I better watch myself or else I'm going to get a reputation for being a bore.
Oh, you already have a reputation, but not as a bore. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Now, listen here. Is there anything at all that you don't see or know about?
Not much. I decided that you asked me out tonight because you think I'm safe.
Safe?
Mm-hmm. I don't think you'd invite anybody out that you could be serious about to a party at Ashley's.
You don't.
No. And I also know the difference between someone who is serious about getting to know me and someone who is very, very charmingly going through the motions.
Now, you stop it right there because you're putting my ego right through that floor.
No, I don't mean to.
No, I'm only kidding you. Well, I think I better be going anyway, because now that you mention it, I'm not at all sure that you are safe. You know what I mean?
Oh, hi, Dr. Garner.
Hey, how are you, Al? You just coming back from the hospital?
Yes, sir.
How is everything over there?
Oh, business as usual.
Oh, yeah? Well, it's always good to hear. Yeah. Well, Darcy, I certainly enjoyed myself tonight. Thanks for going with me.
Oh, well, thanks for inviting me. I had a wonderful time.
And, you be careful. Don't you count on being too safe.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Alan.
Listen, I was expecting somebody here waiting for me.
Girl by the name of Missy, by any chance?
Yeah, where is she?
Gone.
She's gone?
Yeah, she was here with Brad for a while, and then she just took off.
He was supposed to be at the library.
Well, he wasn't. And he was very worried about your friend. He said she was really coming apart. Anyway, she's gone.
Ah, terrific. All night I'm over at the hospital thinking she's waiting here for me.
Oh, too bad.
By the way, when you bring your dates home, I want you to remember that rule about no hot and heavy stuff in the living room. That was some passionate goodbye just now.